Your brain is not designed for long-term success. It's designed for instant pleasure. That's why you choose scrolling over working, comfort over progress, now over later. This isn't a motivation problem. It's biology. In this video, we're breaking down why your brain craves instant gratification, how modern life exploits this weakness, and what science says about regaining control. Welcome to Master of Report, the channel where we expose how the mind really works, why people stay stuck, and how discipline beats comfort every time. Let's get into it.
Welcome to The Explainer. You know, there's one skill that really seems to separate long-term success from short-term struggle. Today, we're diving deep into that very skill, the art of delayed gratification. So, to kick things off, let's look at a story you probably wouldn't expect. I mean, what can a rap battle actually teach us about success? Well, as it turns out, a whole lot. So here we go, our first section, a modern masterclass. And this is a perfect example of a high-stakes, real-world battle between two totally opposite ways of thinking. All right, let's talk about the 2024 feud between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. I mean, this wasn't just a rap battle, it was a perfect case study in these two strategies. You had Drake, who went for instant gratification. He was just rushing out track after track, right? Quantity over quality, trying to win the moment. But then, you had Kendrick. He waited. He was patient, calculated. He crafted a response that was so sharp, so potent, that it completely flipped the script. And, well, he won. Kendrick played the long game. Drake played for the moment. And the long game won. This whole thing is such a brilliant illustration of a conflict that's not just happening in music. It's happening inside all of our heads every single day. And that battle in our heads, that leads us straight into our next section, your brain's dopamine trap. We're going to get into the science of why it's so incredibly hard to resist that instant pleasure. Let's be real for a second. We're living in what feels like an attention span pandemic. I mean, our ability to just sit and focus is shrinking, and it is absolutely not a coincidence. So much of our modern technology is literally designed to hijack a specific chemical in our brains. And that chemical is dopamine. It's the chemical of anticipation, of reward. Your brain releases it when it expects something good. So every time you get a notification, every swipe, every new episode that autoplays, that's a hit of dopamine. It creates this powerful loop that trains your brain to want easy, quick pleasure instead of doing the hard, meaningful work. And you really gotta get this. This is not a motivation issue. It's a neurochemical loop. It's not about being lazy or having weak willpower. It's about brain chemistry. You're up against a system that's literally designed to keep you hooked. You know, psychologists have been talking about this internal tug-of-war for over 100 years. Think of Freud's model. You've got these voices in your head. There's the id, which is basically the little devil on your shoulder screaming, "I want it now." Then you've got the superego, the angel, whispering, "This is the right thing to do." And then there's the ego. That's you, stuck in the middle, trying to figure out what to do. Neuroscientists today have a slightly different way of looking at it. They see it as a battle between two systems in your brain. You've got the limbic system, let's call it the monkey brain. It's impulsive, emotional, it just wants rewards right now. And when you have the prefrontal cortex, that's the rider. It's the logical part responsible for long-term planning. The thing is, the more you feed that monkey brain with those instant hits of dopamine, the weaker the rider gets, and the harder it is to steer yourself in the right direction. Okay, so does getting a handle on this internal battle actually make a difference in the long run? Well, that brings us to our next section, and one of the most famous psychological experiments of all time, the marshmallow test. So back in the 70s, a psychologist named Walter Mischel did this incredibly simple test. He put a bunch of kids in a room, one by one, with a marshmallow. He told them, you can eat this one marshmallow right now, or if you can wait 15 minutes while I'm gone, you can have two. What they found out decades later was absolutely staggering. Turns out the kids who were able to wait for that second marshmallow, they went on to have better life outcomes across the board. We're talking higher academic achievement, look at the difference in SAT scores, better health, even higher incomes. It was a huge predictor of success.
And here's the real kicker. The ability to wait, that skill predicted success more than IQ. Let that sink in. This muscle of self-control, of delaying gratification, was actually more valuable for building a good life than just being smart.
Okay, so this is all great to know. But now for the really important question. How in the world do you build this superpower when everything around us is designed to destroy it? Well, there's a pretty clear three-step framework for this. Step 1. Define your goal. And I mean really define it. Write down what truly matters to you and put it somewhere you can see it. Step 2. Create a plan. Break that big goal down into smaller, manageable steps with realistic timelines. And step 3. Make mindful decisions. When you're faced with a choice, just pause. Ask yourself, does this action get me closer to my long-term vision, or is it just for my short-term urge?
And just like any muscle, you can train it. Here are a few exercises. First, the 10-minute rule. When you feel an urge to check your phone, to eat that junk food, just wait 10 minutes. You'll be amazed how often the urge just fades away. Another one is dopamine fasting. Basically, take a break from all the easy, high-pleasure stuff. This helps reset your brain's sensitivity so that doing the actual work starts to feel rewarding again. The whole point is to train your brain to link pleasure with the effort, not just the escape.
Okay, I know this can all sound a little overwhelming, and starting is always the hardest part. So let's just focus on one thing, your very first small step. So what do you do right now? That feeling of being totally overwhelmed, it can just freeze you, right? You have this huge goal and it feels impossible. The secret is to make the first step so ridiculously small that you literally can't fail. The psychologist Jordan Peterson has some great advice on this. He says to take your goal and just shrink it. So let's say your goal is to clean your disastrously messy room. The goal isn't clean the room. Maybe the goal is just vacuum the rug. And if even that feels like too much, then your goal for the day is just to move the vacuum cleaner out of the closet. That's it. Just put it in the doorway. Yeah, it takes some humility. But taking that one tiny, non-scary step is how you start. It's how you break that cycle of doing nothing.
Because the magic here is all about momentum. Progress isn't linear, it accelerates. That first tiny step gets a little snowball rolling. The next step makes it a little bigger. And pretty soon, that snowball is rolling on its own. That first push is always the hardest part.
And that really brings us to the core idea here. Your future is built by what you deny yourself today. Every single time you resist that easy short-term urge, you're casting a vote. You're casting a vote for the person you want to become. It's a choice between who you are right now and who you could be. Choose wisely.
If this video made you rethink your habits, then it did exactly what it was supposed to do. On Master of Report, we break down psychology, behavior, discipline, and success, without motivation lies or fake positivity. If you want more videos like this, subscribe to the channel and comment below. What gives you instant gratification the most, and why? Awareness is the first step to control. I'll see you in the next report.